Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal 117 based on novel. So let's start. As the sounds of horses approached from the military road before them, a team of more than 10 war horses charged toward them. There were two people in front of this group of war horses. One of them was wearing blue armor, and he had purple, flowing hair that revealed his demonic face. His face was so handsome that there was a demonic feel to it. However, there was a scar on the right side of his face that completely destroyed his overall appearance. The aura of beauty disappeared and was replaced by a vicious and evil aura. There was a person sitting on the war horse beside the man with the scar. His face was thin and pale, but his eyes were bright. When he saw Wang Lin riding on the war horse, his eyes revealed a mysterious light. The two groups of people didn't slow down at all and charged head-on toward each other. The two groups were like two demonic beasts mercilessly charging at each other. The evil person with the scar stared at Mo Lihai. In his eyes, no one other than Mo Lihai existed. At this moment, it seemed like the earth itself was trembling, and the two sides got closer and closer. Just at the moment they were about to collide, Mo Lihai let out a laugh, then his right hand formed a fist and he threw a punch. This punch moved like the roaring wind that could collapse everything into nothingness, and it flew directly at the evil-looking man. They could hear the sound barrier breaking before the punch even closed in on the evil-looking man, and a powerful fist intent appeared within this punch. The evil-looking man's expression didn't change. He raised his right hand and pointed forward with his index finger. Then he quickly pointed forward with his middle finger, and in a flash, he did the same with all 5 fingers. Then his 5 fingertips gathered together to form a cone and pointed forward together. A soft, muffled sound suddenly came from both of them, then a ripple spread out from the two of them. The ripple, however, only spread out 30 feet and dissipated at the edge of the military road, so it didn't damage any buildings. The two of them had to have very good control of their strength to ensure the shockwave was as small as possible. The evil-looking man's body shifted as the war horse below him let out a painful wail because all 4 of its legs were broken. Then the horse's body exploded, so the evil-looking man was forced to retreat 3 steps, and each of those 3 steps caused the ground to tremble. The person stared at Mo Lihai and said, 10 collapse fist intent. Mo Lihai's body also trembled, and he began to back up with his war horse as well. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he raised his right hand and pointed at Mo Lihai. Wang Lin's use of power was very intricate and was able to cancel out a lot of the force for Mo Lihai. Mo Lihai took a deep breath as he stabilized his body. He then got off the war horse unscathed, and the contest between the two of them had been decided. Mo Lihai smiled. The 6-finger demon sword is only this much. The evil-looking man's gaze shifted from Mo Lihai and fell on Wang Lin. He said, in a serious tone, "What is your name, foreigner?" Wang Lin looked at this person and didn't speak. The evil-looking man frowned. At this moment, the thin person beside him softly said, "His name is Wang Lin." Mo Lihai's eyes narrowed as he looked at Wang Lin and the thin-looking man. The evil-looking man asked, "Oh? You guys know each other?" The thin-looking man looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "He is my junior apprentice brother. Long time no see. Brother Sun Dao. It looks like you have to go into closed-door cultivation for several years to recover from your serious injury," said Wang Lin. His voice was calm, so it was impossible to know if he was happy or angry. At the moment he saw Sun Dao, he realized that Sun Dao was injured, and this was a serious injury that even affected Sun Dao's origin soul. Although the injury had been forcibly suppressed, Sun Dao's cultivation had dropped from the mid-stage of ascendant to the peak of the late stage of soul transformation. Sun Dao took a careful look at Wang Lin and then the shock in his heart slowly calmed down. When he first saw Wang Lin, he naturally discovered that Wang Lin's cultivation had jumped 2 steps from the mid-stage of soul transformation to the peak of the late stage. Sun Dao slowly said, "Junior brother Wang, it looks like you had a fortunate encounter. But you have to be careful in the Sky Demon City because of the people from the Da Lu sword sect. My injuries were caused by them." There was a hint of anger in his voice. This anger wasn't directed at Wang Lin but the Da Lu sword sect. Wang Lin pondered a bit before slapping his bag of holding and taking out a bottle of pills. Although these pills wouldn't have much effect on Sun Dao, they represented Wang Lin's goodwill. He tossed the pills at Sun Dao and then rode forward on his war horse without saying a word. Mo Lihai looked profoundly at the two of them before leading his people around the evil-looking man and catching up to Wang Lin. The evil-looking man coldly looked at the backs of Mo Lihai and company and asked, "How is this person?" Sun Dao put away the pills, then he pondered a bit and said, "If I wasn't injured, I could kill him. Don't underestimate him. This Mo Lihai has a total of 3 powerful spells. The first spell is the 10 Collapse Fist Intent, the second is the 100 Wave Demon Sea, and the third spell is something the Demon Emperor personally taught him, so it is very powerful." The evil-looking man sighed and said, "If you weren't injured, I'd be 100% confident in winning this competition." Sun Dao pondered a bit. Shortly after he said, "If I get the materials, I can refine a heavenly cloud pill, which can restore my cultivation to the early stage of ascendant for a short period of time." The evil-looking man nodded and said, "Don't worry about materials, I have already sent people to gather them." Then he changed the topic and asked, "How is your junior apprentice brother?" Sun Dao revealed a complex look before letting out a sigh and saying, "Strong, very strong." Even when his cultivation was not at the peak of the late stage of soul transformation and only at the mid-stage, it was best not to provoke him. The evil-looking man's eyes narrowed. He had interacted with Sun Dao for a long period of time, and this was the first time Sun Dao had ever evaluated someone like this. On the military road, Mo Lihai looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Thanks, Brother Wang, for the help earlier. Otherwise, my war horse would have turned into a pile of flesh and blood as well." Wang Lin shook his head. "That is but a small matter. Brother Mo doesn't have to thank me." Mo Lihai slowly said, "That person's name is Shao, and his spell's power, the 6-finger demon sword, is unpredictable. With your senior apprentice brother's help, he will be one of my main threats this time." They quickly moved along the military road, and after one incense stick of time, they stopped before a mansion. Although this place wasn't big, it had everything that was needed. It even had fake mountains and water. It was quite elegant. Wang Lin was living in the southern building right across from the fake mountain. Mo Lihai arranged 2 sergeants to be under Wang Lin's control before leaving to meet the Demon Emperor. He spoke to Wang Lin before he left and they agreed to drink together once he comes back. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position in his room. Aside from helping Mo Lihai, his other goal during this trip to the capital city was to get the position of Demon General. This place was the capital of Sky Demon Country, so experts were as common as clouds here. Only by making himself stand out among the others would it make it a lot easier for him to get the position of Demon General. Even Sun Dao's mid-stage ascendant cultivation was injured by someone and forced down to the peak of the late stage of soul transformation. He said that it was someone from the Da Lu sword sect. There are more than 10 people from the Da Lu sword sect who entered, and unless multiple people ganged up on Sun Dao, there is no way for him to be this injured. After pondering for a long time, Wang Lin took a deep breath. The reason he gave Sun Dao the pills was to send a message of good faith. Although they had their differences here, they were still, after all, from the same sect. When facing the threat of the Da Lu sword sect, they couldn't fight against each other. After pondering for a long time, Wang Lin closed his eyes and began to cultivate. Mo Lihai returned at dusk, and his eyes were filled with joy. He chatted with Wang Lin over wine and they talked about various spells. Mo Lihai also told Wang Lin about the spells of several other demon generals. Time quickly passed, and in the blink of an eye, Wang Lin had spent 4 days in the Mo Mansion. He spent almost all his time converting demonic spiritual energy into celestial spiritual energy to make his foundation even more stable. Wang Lin didn't ask when the battle between the demon generals would start. He understood that when he is needed, Mo Lihai will ask for him. Therefore, Wang Lin was in no rush, and in addition to cultivation, he spent a lot of time pondering. What he was pondering about was the celestial slaughter art. After the slaughter in ancient Demon City, Wang Lin's understanding of the celestial slaughter art became more profound. Wang Lin also spent the 3 months at the soul refining tribe like this. When he wasn't cultivating, he spent the rest of the time pondering about the celestial slaughter art. For him, a change in location wouldn't affect his mentality at all. Wang Lin's calmness caught the attention of the two sergeants assigned to him, and they gradually began to admire Wang Lin. In their view, for someone at Wang Lin's cultivation level to continue to work so hard to cultivate, he would definitely become a demon general in the future. Mo Lahai was extremely busy during this period of time. He left early almost every day and returned late. He went to meet various commander-in-chiefs and vice-commander-in-chief as well as friendly demon generals to exchange information. He could feel that the entire Sky Demon City was like a keg of explosives that will explode when the competition between the demon generals begin. Wang Lin quietly stayed in the Mo Mansion for 4 days, and after that, he stopped cultivating. He sat in the courtyard and his hands rapidly moved, forming seals. Each one of the seals contained the power of the celestial slaughter art. Wang Lin sat there for 7 days. At the start, the two sergeants calmly looked at Wang Lin from a distance, but soon the two started feeling a powerful frenzy of killing intent coming from inside their hearts. Their hearts trembled violently, and their eyes were bloodshot, revealing powerful killing intent. Their sanity was already gone. Just as this killing intent reached its limit and the two were about to explode, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes, and his eyes were filled with clarity. When the two of them saw Wang Lin's eyes, it was as if cold water had been poured on their heads, and they immediately sobered up. Although they sobered up, a large amount of the cultivation inside their bodies disappeared. The two of them were filled with fear and never dared to watch Wang Lin cultivate again. The celestial slaughter art takes the path of slaughter to create life seals. The amount of life I have taken is not small, but don't I have much of this slaughter aura? There must be a reason. Wang Lin pondered as he carefully recalled every time he successfully used the celestial slaughter art. Scenes from the past flashed through Wang Lin's brain. This process was very slow. Wang Lin slowly sorted through these memories as he sat inside the courtyard. The memories of him successfully using the celestial slaughter art played slowly in his mind as he looked for similarities between them. After a long time, Wang Lin let out a sigh. After carefully looking through all the times he successfully created slaughter energy, it seemed like they all happened by chance and there was nothing in common between them. Although, if there is one thing, on the day I killed Sima Yang, there was something strange. At that moment, I acted out of anger and was able to create a strand of slaughter energy. Wang Lin's eyes lit up but then dimmed once more. However, this doesn't make any sense, because there were strands of slaughter energy created when I was completely calm. There was also some slaughter energy created from demon soldiers, but as to which specific soldiers they were, it is impossible to tell. Wang Lin pondered for a long time, but he still couldn't find anything, and his brows gradually furrowed. Cultivating the celestial slaughter art is one of the key reasons I entered this place. I learned this spell to use it against Tuor Senator Tuor Sen is very strong, so I will need a lot to go against him. Now that I have the blood soul pills, I have a much better chance of surviving with these two combined. However, I only have a limited amount of blood soul pills, so my priority is still this celestial slaughter art. Wang Lin pondered. He had been cultivating the celestial slaughter art for several years now, and creating the first strand of slaughter energy meant that he had reached the first stage. However, in order to master this spell, the difficulty was too high. I feel like there are some mysteries about this celestial slaughter art, but the amount I control is too little to test. Wang Lin raised his right hand and 5 strands of grey gas moved between his fingers. Only 5 strands. Even counting the one sealing Yarrow Shishua, it is only 6 strands. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He still hasn't been able to see through the celestial slaughter art. He was still quite confused about how the slaughter energy was produced. He thought of many reasons, but each of those reasons only applied to one situation. It looks like I need to do a lot of tests and deductions to have a chance to understand the mysteries of the celestial slaughter art. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and a killing intent emitted from his eyes. He pondered a little before spreading out his divine sense and finding the 2 sergeants responsible for his living conditions behind the fake mountain. The 2 of them feared Wang Lin's spell from the bottom of their hearts, so they didn't dare to stay near Wang Lin. However, the Lord's order was something they had to follow, so they decided to guard the entrance to the courtyard and didn't allow anyone to enter. Wang Lin's divine sense swept past the 2 sergeants and he sent out a divine message. Shortly after, the two sergeants walked into the courtyard. They stopped 3 feet from Wang Lin and respectfully said, "Greetings, Vice General Wang." Wang Lin calmly said, "I'm going out, the two of you lead the way." The two of them were startled, but they quickly nodded. Wang Lin immediately moved forward several feet. The two sergeants almost immediately followed, but one of them hesitated for a bit before respectfully asking, "Vice General Wang, should we prepare a war horse?" "No need." In a flash, Wang Lin moved around the fake mountain and left the courtyard. The three of them left the Mo mansion with Wang Lin in front. The Mo mansion was on the eastern corner of Hong City and was relatively quiet. He casually walked along the street. Wang Lin didn't walk very fast. He looked around and gradually made his way to the main street of Hong City. There was a river nearby along with many people, and shops filled the sides of the street. It was very lively. Bursts of noise slowly drifted over as men and women walked on the street. The clothing in Demon Spirit Land was open-minded, especially the women's clothing. Not only were they colorful, but they revealed a large amount of skin and were very pleasing to the eyes. Everything before him caused Wang Lin's tense mood from the last few days to relax. He walked the streets as if he was a mortal, and the celestial spiritual energy inside his body slowly hid itself like a river drying up. Along the way, Wang Lin would sometimes stop outside a shop. Sometimes he would enter and sometimes he would just leave, but the amount of time he stayed was always very short. He was like a passerby as he slowly walked through this foreign city. Wang Lin's appearance wasn't handsome, but because he was a cultivator, he gave off a very refined temperament. As a result, the more open-minded women among the crowd would sometimes place their gazes on Wang Lin as they passed by. Wang Lin looked like a defenseless scholar with his white robe. As for the two sergeants behind him, in the view of the public, they looked like typical guards. However, there was still an aura about Wang Lin that was very different from this place, so there was no way for him to truly belong here. As a result, a faint feeling of sadness spread out from him. Among the pedestrians, there would be pairs of men and women talking and laughing with each other. Compared to them, Wang Lin's figure was very lonely. As he walked among the crowd, the surrounding noise seemed to be part of another world. The pairs of men and women seemed to belong in another time and space. Nothing before him had the slightest hint of familiarity or connection to him. An indefinable feeling appeared in Wang Lin's heart, and he let out a sigh. This road was very long, but he didn't want to continue walking down it anymore. The day was getting late, and just as he was ready to leave, the sound of a zither that was filled with a faint hint of sadness entered his ears. This faint sadness and zither music strangely fitted Wang Lin's mood very well and caused him to stop. Wang Lin slowly followed the sound of the zither. Not far away from the street was a river. This was one of the inner rivers of Sky Demon City. There were several boats on the river, and this zither music was coming from one of the boats. Wang Lin silently stood on the side of the river, listening to the zither being played. With his eyesight, he was able to see a woman playing the zither on the boat. This woman only revealed her back. Her back was like her zither music, revealing a faint feeling of sadness and loneliness. Not far away from her were a few young people laughing and drinking. The sound of the laughter was very out of place next to the zither music. Wang Lin quietly looked at the boat. As the zither music fell in his ears, he savored the sound and slowly found a sense of familiarity. At this moment, he remembered the peaceful valley back on planet Suzaku, his home with Li Muwen. WN's zither music from those peaceful days still accompanied Wang Lin. WN's zither music also contained a hint of sadness, but the Wang Lin back then didn't understand it. This sadness was far too faint and ethereal. After WN left, Wang Lin never heard that zither music again. Today, thanks to hearing the same zither music, the sadness in his heart slowly resurfaced. Before Li Muwen left, Wang Lin's feeling for her had always been that he was moved and felt responsible for her hundreds of years of waiting. This isn't love. However, after WN left, Wang Lin would unconsciously think of Li Muwen sometimes. At those times, his heart hurt a lot. It was as if he entered a forest of loneliness. Inside this forest, the emotion that lay dormant in him slowly awakened. It was like a cup of bitter water inside Wang Lin's heart, creating ripples that won't easily disappear. He always remember the panic in her eyes when they first meet. Even though this Zither music was obviously fake, Wang Lin could still feel Wana slowly walking out from the void toward him and entering his arms. It was like back in the valley when he and Li Muwen would silently watch the sunset, waiting for sunrise. It was always after one lost something that they would want it most. It was also when one parted that they wanted to come back. During the years after Wana left, Wang Lin recalled her time and time again, making her more and more important. She was now engraved in his heart and would last until the end of time. The day was getting late, and before the sky was completely dark, a ray of starlight suddenly appeared in the sky. Too many unimaginable things happened in the demon spirit land. No one asked where the starlight or moonlight came from. That wasn't important. What was important was that this starlight along with the Zither music had touched the memories Wang Lin had sealed away. The starlight imprinted in Wang Lin's eyes, and along with the Zither music gradually drifting away, it caused a feeling to slowly condense in his heart. This was a feeling of loneliness, and it stayed in his heart for a long time. The Zither music became softer and softer as Wang Lin raised his hand to touch between his eyebrows. It was as if he was touching Li Muwen inside the heaven-defying bead, and he muttered, we still meet once more. This is my promise to you. The boat slowly left, and the figure of that woman also disappeared. At the moment the music almost completely disappeared, the woman seemed to notice something and turned around. She looked at the riverside in the distance, but it was too dark to see. Still, in this darkness, she seemed to see a lonely figure slowly walking away. On the boat, the woman let out a sigh and began to move her hand as sad music played once more and filled the river. Although there was light on the boat, to her, everything was always dark, whether it was day or night. Her jade-like hand moved in the darkness, and the laughter that came from the boat was quickly shattered by her Zither music. She sat the bow of the boat, and there was no light in her eyes, but at this moment, she was like a lotus flower blooming in the mud. However, this was a bloom that no one could understand and no one paid attention to. The Zither music still echoed throughout the area, but no one was seriously listening. Even if there was someone listening seriously, she couldn't see. Wang Lin left the river and slowly walked in the night with the two sergeants following him. The two sergeants both looked at each other and saw the confusion in each other's eyes. In their view, Wang Lin had spent most of the time strolling the city and then staring at the river in a daze. The sky was now dark, but this person was still slowly walking down the street. During the night, Hong City was lit up by lights as if it was a city without night. As Wang Lin slowly walked on the road, his gaze fell on a dark area in the distance. There were many large buildings there, and the entire area had a depressing atmosphere. This aura was filled with death and resentment. One of the sergeants followed Wang Lin's gaze and whispered, "That is one of the 4 great prisons of the capital, Hong Prison." Hong Prison, Wang Lin nodded. The sergeant explained, Hong Prison is filled with felons and is well guarded. It is impossible for one to enter and exit without a token. Wang Lin carefully looked at this Hong Prison. He had already noticed that place before because it contained several powerful demonic spiritual energies no weaker than Mo Lihai. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin walked toward the Mo Mansion. After returning to the Mo Mansion, Wang Lin went straight to Mo Lihai's residence. Mo Lihai was cultivating, and when Wang Lin opened the door, he opened his eyes. "I want to go to Hong Prison. Does Brother Mo have a way?" Mo Lihai was startled. He looked at Wang Lin but didn't ask for the reason. Instead, he pondered for a bit and said, "There are some difficulties." Wang Lin frowned and said, "Then forget it." Mo Lihai faintly smiled and said, "How long do you want to stay there?" Wang Lin said, "About 1 month." Mo Lihai's eyes narrowed and he said, "Cultivating?" Wang Lin nodded at Mo Lihai and said, "I need to kill to train my spell, and if I were to do that here in the city, it would cause unnecessary trouble." With that, Wang Lin added, "If I can succeed, then my ability to help you will increase." Mo Lihai stood up, then he stared at Wang Lin and asked, word for word, "Are you sure?" Wang Lin didn't waste time as he waved his hand and 5 strands of slaughter energy appeared. They took the form of 5 dragons and charged toward Mo Lihai like lightning. Mo Lihai laughed and threw a punch. There was a sound of force pushing through the air, and the 5 dragons collapsed. However, Mo Lahai's smile disappeared and he revealed a strange expression before retreating 3 steps. The shattered grey gas reformed into the 5 dragons, and a thick slaughter aura spread out and immediately surrounded the entire Mo mansion. All of the soldiers inside the mansion were alarmed by this and rushed over. At the same time, these 5 strands of slaughter energy charged at Mo Lahai. His eyes lit up and he threw another punch. The 5 strands of slaughter energy dodged his punch and aimed at his chest. The slaughter energy suddenly closed in but was stopped by an invisible force 7 inches away from Mo Lahai's body and was forced back. Even so, the screen of demonic spiritual energy before Mo Lahai also shook violently. Wang Lin slowly said, "If I had more than 1,000 strands, could you still block it so easily?" Mo Lahai's eyes lit up. This was not the first time he had seen the slaughter energy. Compared to the last 2 times, it was much more powerful this time. He decisively said, "1 month is too long for me to do, but 7 days is no problem. Hong Prison has tens of thousands of felons, so 7 days should be enough for you to cultivate. Wait for me and I'll have an entry letter for you in 3 days." Wang Lin nodded and then left the room. Mo Lahai revealed a pondering expression. After a long time, he muttered, "I indeed can't underestimate this Wang Lin. It looks like exchanging that 13's life for his help was the right thing to do. Ignoring the power of that palm, just the power of those grey gas strands filled with killing intent is extremely abnormal. With only 5 strands that aren't even at full power, he was able to cause my demonic armor to shake. It is even sharper than some demonic swords. This isn't the most important thing though. There is something mysterious about that grey gas that can affect the life force in my body. If there were more than 1,000 strands of that grey gas, it would be very dangerous. It is best not to make an enemy of Wang Lin and maintain our current relationship." He pondered a bit before leaving the room and working to get Wang Lin access to Hong Prison. Wang Lin didn't return to his room but sat in the lotus position in the courtyard. Although the surroundings were completely quiet, there was still faint zither music in his ears. Although this zither music was faint, it had its unique charms that didn't disappear. Wang Lin didn't cultivate tonight. He didn't even think about the celestial slaughter art at all. He just quietly sat there under the starlight, listening to the zither music in his heart. His figure created a long shadow from the moonlight. This shadow looked exceptionally bleak. Merely a lonely shadow. A jar of high-quality wine from ancient Demon City was placed next to Wang Lin. He would occasionally pick up the jar and take a drink. The bleakness of his shadow gradually affected his body, and his loneliness seemed to fuse with the moonlight that imprinted on his body and soul. I, Wang Lin, began learning Dao at the age of 16, but I have long forgotten exactly how long I have cultivated for. Wang Lin picked up the jar and took a big jump. The wine leaked out from the corner of his mouth and dripped on his clothes. Wang Lin looked at the starlight in the sky and revealed a hint of loneliness. Cultivators walk against the heavens and are destined to be forever lonely. There were no sounds, but Wang Lin could still faintly hear the zither music. He wiped the wine from the corner of his mouth and muttered, "Being lonely for life gives one the heart to seek Dao. But how many people can truly savor this feeling of loneliness? Just like this wine, it is spicy when it enters the mouth, but then it turns into warmth once it enters the body." Under the starlight and moonlight, a solitary shadow was drinking wine and contemplating life. I don't know how those cultivators who have cultivated for over 10,000 years endured those 10,000 years. But I know that if one doesn't have at least a tiny bit of emotion, they are only cultivating their self-created Tao and not the Tao of the heavens. The heavens and earth are inhumane. Cultivating is about going against the heavens, but if a cultivator is also heartless, then they are also inhumane. Using an inhumane heart to cultivate the heavens' inhumane Tao, how can that be considered going against the heavens? That is merely following the will of the heavens. Since ancient times, those that followed the will of the heavens were favored by the heavens, but in truth they were merely insect. My Tao doesn't follow the will of the heavens, I follow my heart to walk against the heavens. I don't seek to be immortal, I seek to get rid of my status as an insect. That is what it means to rebel. Wang Lin drank all the wine in the jar in one gulp and then threw it. The jar shattered when it landed, Then Wang Lin touched between his eyebrows and leaned to the side. The bleakness in his eyes slowly disappeared. The moonlight slowly disappeared and the sun gradually rose as Wang Lin slowly opened his eyes. Tonight, he was drunk. He was drunk from wine and emotion. At the moment he awakened, everything that happened last night was buried deep in his heart and sealed in a place that couldn't be touched. 3 days of time passed by in a flash. In those 3 days, Wang Lin didn't cultivate. Instead, he would leave the Mo mansion every morning and wait by the riverside for that short period of time when the Zither music would pass by. That sad Zither music flowed through his mind, piercing through those sealed memories and entering deep into his heart. While listening to the Zither music and drinking the wine the sergeants brought him, Wang Lin was completely immersed in the moment and gained some enlightenment. The woman on the boat didn't know that there was someone seriously listening to her Zither music in those 3 days. She just knew that whenever she passed by that spot, the sadness in her heart would increase, and that sadness entered her hand and escaped through her music. During these 3 days, Wang Lin was very peaceful. He distanced himself from conflict and slaughter. He forgot about the danger of Tuor Sen, forgot about his agreement with Molahai, and forgot his own hope for reaching the ascendant stage. With the Zither music and wine accompanying him, he experienced a short baptism for his heart. He never tried to see what the woman looked like. Just her figure and Zither music was enough. If it wasn't for Molahai having already settled the matter for Wang Lin to enter Hong prison, he would have continued to sit there and cleanse his heart. He didn't know how long he would have stayed there for, perhaps until the strings on the Zither broke and it no longer produced any music. Wang Lin withdrew himself from the Zither music. He stood up and watched the boat gradually leave. At this moment, the woman on the boat suddenly turned around to look at the riverside. Although everything before her was still dark, the figure of that man leaving appeared in her eyes. A calm voice came from beside the woman. "Ming Xian, what are you looking at?" The Zither music suddenly stopped. The woman turned around and lowered her head. Then her jade-like hands floated above the Zither's strings and trembled slightly. To her, his voice represented the heavens and an irresistible fate. "Your Zither music is too sad, so the guests want you to change." Although the voice was calm, it was also spoken in a way that meant she couldn't refuse. The woman pondered and then began to play the Zither. The Zither music suddenly changed to that of a spring march, and a cheerful sound filled the boat and river. "Very good. In the future, play like this." The voice from before came once more. The cheerful Zither music spread out, and although the music was joyful, if one listened closely, they would be able to tell that it wasn't joyful at all but a silent cry. This cry was filled with sadness and pain. The best way to describe this was a forced smile. The music slowly filled the boat and matched the sound of the laughter, but it never fused with it. There was a powerful bitterness hidden behind this forced smile. This bitterness was very well hidden by the Zither music, and Ming Xian knew that no one but her could understand. As the boat drifted away, so did the music, leaving behind only the ripples caused by the boat. The ripples slowly spread to the 2 sides of the river. The happy music with deep sadness entered Wang Lin's ears. It caused him to pause for a moment, but he didn't turn around and continued to walk away. It was not midnight, but the full moon hung in the sky and the moonlight covered Sky Demon City like a thin, silk sheet. 2 figures appeared outside the Mo mansion and both disappeared in a flash of smoke. They charged toward Hong prison. Both of them were very fast as they flew over the various buildings and streets of Hong City and soon arrived outside Hong prison. From a distance, the killing intent and resentment in this place was monstrous. It was like a demonic flame that burned in the night sky. The 2 figures from the Mo mansion revealed themselves outside Hong prison. These 2 were Molahai and Wang Lin. The moment the 2 of them appeared, the huge, black, iron door before them suddenly opened a small crack. A grim-looking hunchback man walked out from this gap. He looked at the 2 of them and without a word he waved his hand before going back inside. Wang Lin's eyes squinted unnoticeably. The grim-looking man's cultivation level was the same as Molahai's. They both had cultivation equal to peak late-stage soul transformation cultivators. Molahai took a step forward and moved like lightning through the gap. Wang Lin casually followed behind him. The grim-looking hunchback man examined Wang Lin and asked, "Is this the person Brother Mo talked about?" Mo Lihai nodded and said, "He is. The rest will depend on Brother Shu." The man named Shu nodded and said, "You can leave, I'll take him inside." Mo Lihai arrived next to Wang Lin and whispered, "Brother Wang, take care. I hope your cultivation is successful." With that, he took a step and disappeared. The man named Shu looked at Wang Lin and asked, "What is your name?" "Wang Lin." Wang Lin's voice was very calm. The man named Shu didn't speak more. He just turned around and walked into Hong prison. Wang Lin followed the man, and his steps were very steady. The deeper they went, the more intense the killing intent became. The grey-robed man seemed to enjoy the aura very much. He secretly looked at Wang Lin and was very surprised to find Wang Lin so calm. Then he thought that if Mo Lihai was willing to spend this much, this person must have something extraordinary about him. Hong prison was split into two parts. The part above the ground was just the surface, and there was another part underground. The man named Shu acted quickly as he directly led Wang Lin underground. The two of them went down a gloomy flight of stairs. There were some ghostly flames on the sides of the wall. The flickering of the fire made this place even more eerie. When they first stepped on the stairs, it was very quiet, but as they went down, sounds of shouting and roaring could be heard from the depths. These voices were filled with killing intent and resentment. Compared to what could be seen on the surface, this was more than 10 times stronger. The man named Shu purposely slowed down and he secretly observed Wang Lin. He knew that the aura from this prison was almost strong enough to condense into solid form. Even demon generals with similar cultivation levels to him would feel discomfort unless they were like him, who has lived here for hundreds of years. He had already gotten used to this aura from cultivating here for so long. The more he saw, the more shocked he became. Wang Lin's expression still looked normal, and from his observation, it didn't look like Wang Lin was forcing himself to appear normal. Instead, it looked as if Wang Lin was about to integrate into the surroundings. After examining Wang Lin, the man named Shu gave up on any ideas he had. He understood that for this person to choose to come here to cultivate, this person must have something special about him. If he were to scout any more, it would be inappropriate. This staircase was very long. After a long time, the two of them arrived at the end. The end was very creepy. It was like a giant cage that had been divided up into thousands of separate cages. Waves of shouting and roars along with countless curses echoed within the area. This sound was too loud. If it was a normal person, their ears would immediately ring endlessly from the noise. The man named Shu was already used to all of this. He said, in a gloomy tone, "All of you, quiet." After he said that, all of the sounds from the cells stopped, and an oppressive aura slowly formed. There was a black house at the entrance of this cell block. Standing outside the house, the man named Shu examined Wang Lin once more. He revealed a smile, but this smile made his face even more eerie than before. "Brother Wang, this is the section I'm responsible for. I handpicked all of them, and they are all going to be executed by January, so you can cultivate to your heart's desire. Even if you kill them all, it won't matter." Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and immediately found that there were many areas with restrictions guarding them. Wang Lin clasped his hands and said, "Many thanks." The man named Shu let out a horse laugh and said, "No need to thank me. If you want to thank someone, thank Mo Lihai. He gave me the first 3 levels of the 10 collapse fist intent for me to let you in." He gave a meaningful look to Wang Lin before going into the black house. "The first 3 levels of the 10 collapse first intent. Mo Lihai indeed paid a lot for me to enter here." Wang Lin pondered a bit before walking into this large cage. This place was like a grid with rows of cells neatly arranged. When Wang Lin walked in, the oppression from before exploded, and the shouting and roaring resumed. The shouts and roars spread out like soundwave spells. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he walked past rows of cells. Countless black hands reached out from the bars as if they were trying to catch him. At the same time, bursts of laughter came from the cells. "Where did this new guy come from? Come here and let me touch you. It has been more than 10 years since I saw skin that delicate. You look exactly the same as the whore I killed before. Foreigner, back then I loved to kill you foreigners the most. Pairs of blood-red eyes stared at Wang Lin from behind the bars. There were various emotions and desires behind those eyes. Wang Lin coldly looked at these people. These people must not have been this crazy years ago. They became like this due to spending too much time here. If one's heart was not sturdy, they would be assimilated by the killing intent and resentment here. Not all of the prisoners were shouting. There were still some that silently sat in their cages. "Newcomer, come here." A black man from a cell next to Wang Lin reached out with both his hands toward Wang Lin. When he noticed Wang Lin turn around toward him, he spat directly at Wang Lin. Wang Lin took a step back and dodged this foul-smelling spit. The black person laughed loudly. His eyes were filled with scorn. Wang Lin's expression was still neutral, then he looked at the person and revealed a smile. He was originally going to step forward but stopped. The completely black person saw Wang Lin's smile and couldn't help but tremble. For some reason, when he saw that smile, he felt an incredible amount of fear, and the scorn in his eyes paused for a moment. However, this was immediately replaced by viciousness. Wang Lin stretched out his right hand to a place where that person could reach and calmly said, "Come." The person was startled. He subconsciously took a few steps back and revealed a gloomy expression. Wang Lin said once more, "Come." At this moment, the shouting and roaring became even more intense. Due to the shouting of the surrounding inmates, the black person clenched his teeth as his hand formed a claw and reached out toward Wang Lin's right hand through cage bars. At the moment the person's hand reached out, Wang Lin's right hand turned into a sword and pointed at that person's palm. At the same time, a strand of slaughter energy drilled into that person. The prisoner's body trembled and he took a few steps back. His entire body convulsed, black blood came out of his orifices, and his face distorted like he was suffering a lot of pain. At this moment, the shouting of the surrounding prisoners became even more intense. But a second later, a miserable shrill arose from this person. This scream was like a sharp sword that penetrated all of the screaming and completely suppressed everything. At this moment, everyone nearby stopped shouting. The miserable scream didn't stop and continued. This scream was filled with intense fear, and Wang Lin looked on with indifference. The man inside the cage already had a thin body, and it gradually withered even more until he was a mummy. This mummy had his mouth open and was filled with grey gas. The grey gas returned to Wang Lin's hand. It was now a bit thicker than before. Still only one strand. Wang Lin frowned. Wang Lin was still observing. The moment the slaughter energy entered this person, it immediately began to absorb this person's life force. This included the soul, blood, flesh, and all his essence. Using the slaughter energy to kill someone can only nourish it. If I want to make it split into another strand, I'm still missing something. Missing some enlightenment. Wang Lin pondered for a bit before looking at the mummy. This person's cultivation level wasn't high, and with the restriction in his body, he couldn't display his full strength. It wasn't just him that was like this, almost every prisoner in this prison was the same. The miserable scream stopped with this person's death, and the prison became extremely quiet. However, this silence only lasted for a moment before the shouting started once more, only this time it was even more explosive. Wang Lin walked toward the next cell. The person inside the cell revealed a bloodthirsty smile at Wang Lin. He licked his lips as he backed away from Wang Lin and said, "Brat, you are cultivating, right? Do me a favor and kill the person opposite me, then I'll fully cooperate with you. How about it?" The person locked in the cell opposite him was a burly man. The man from the opposite cage stared at him and shouted, "I already find you displeasing to look at. Brat, if you kill him, I'll fully cooperate with you. I have been locked away in this damned place long enough. The earlier I die, the sooner I can reincarnate." Wang Lin didn't speak as he pointed at both of them. Two blood-red dots appeared on both their foreheads and began to spread. Both of them fell to the ground, but there was a hint of relief in their eyes. From the moment he entered here, Wang Lin could clearly feel a hint of death aura along with the resentment. At first, he thought that the death aura was present because too many people had died here, but after being here for a bit, Wang Lin found that the death aura came from the prisoners. They all wanted to die, but many didn't have the courage to kill themselves. At the moment the two of them fell down, Wang Lin carefully looked at their bodies. He didn't use the slaughter energy to kill the two of them, so their bodies remained intact. But a strange aura disappeared from their bodies. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, as he vaguely felt like he had grasped something, but after thinking about it carefully, he was still somewhat confused. Celestial slaughter art, refining one's life force into a seal. I have cultivated and pondered this spell many times. I always feel like I gained enlightenment, but sometimes it's all a blur. Wang Lin's right hand reached out and the burly man's body was caught by him. Wang Lin knelt down as he pointed at the hole between this person's eyebrows and carefully examined it. His eyebrows furrowed harder and harder. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he got up and walked toward the next cell. Following Wang Lin's footsteps, one prisoner after another died. Every time he killed one person, he would carefully look at the corpse and examine it for a long time. After 5 days, more than half of the prisoners here died. A thick death aura filled the area and didn't disappear for a long time. Wang Lin observed thousands of bodies and gradually gained a hint of enlightenment. But there seemed to be a layer of mist between him and this enlightenment. He couldn't see it clearly or touch it. What am I missing? Wang Lin pondered. Because you haven't killed enough. Your urge to kill isn't enough. The man named Shu slowly walked out from his black house. There was something different about his gaze toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin raised his head. He looked at the man named Shu and didn't speak. The man named Shu slowly said, "Although I don't know the specifics, the spell you are cultivating should be related to slaughter, and that is why you need to cultivate here. However, you still chose the wrong place, because killing here won't produce enough murderous intent to create a slaughter aura. Although I have seen you kill a lot during these 5 days, most of your time was spent on researching. Sometimes, no amount of research can compare to simply immersing yourself in slaughter, experiencing the pleasure of slaughter, and gaining the killing heart." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. "I cultivate the demon slaughter Dao." The man named Shu looked at Wang Lin and said, "There are 10 wardens in Hong Prison, and only I cultivate the demon slaughter Dao. I use slaughter to refine my heart and become a demon. Carefully observe my killing heart." After the man named Shu finished speaking, his eyes suddenly became cold. Not a hint of killing intent came from his body, but Wang Lin felt like he had suddenly changed. Although there was no killing intent, Wang Lin felt all of the hair on his body stand up. His origin soul involuntarily shook, and a sense of extreme danger appeared in his heart. Then an unknown aura appeared from this person. Although this aura wasn't spreading, it was extremely terrifying. The man named Shu slowly said, "An already sheathed sword is sharp and can create killing intent, but it lacks a certain amount of foundation compared to an unsheathed sword. A real killing heart is an unsheathed sword. If you really want to cultivate slaughter, I can take you to a place where you should be able to experience real slaughter." Wang Lin looked at the person and said, "Condition." The man named Shu revealed a hit of admiration and said, "Help me kill the demon general named Xiao. Don't ask me why. With my killing heart, I am evenly matched with him, but I'm 100% confident in killing him in secret. However, I'm restricted and can't leave this Hong prison, and he would never enter this place in his life. That is why if you help me kill him, I'll help you cultivate your slaughter spell. But I have one more condition: you must kill him using the slaughter spell. Let him die to the path of slaughter." The man named Shu revealed a hint of hatred in his eyes. "If I can really complete my slaughter cultivation, then I can accept your condition," said Wang Lin, in a calm voice. He purposely didn't say everything. "Follow me." The man named Shu revealed an eerie smile and turned around. The prisons of Hong Prison are just a front. The real role of the 4 prisons in Sky Demon City is to provide killing intent for the Demon Emperor's sword. That is why the bottom of the prison is where you need to go. Only there can you truly comprehend the killing heart. Wang Lin followed the man named Shu and left this place before going down another flight of stairs. The stairs seemed to never end. They passed by many prisoners, but the man named Shu didn't stop and directly passed by them all. After a long time, as Wang Lin continued to descend down the stairs, a thick smell of blood appeared. The killing intent here was 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than it was above. The passage before the stairs was no longer dark but had a blood-colored light lighting it up. The man named Shu gently said, I have broken the rules by leading you here, so you mustn't tell anyone else about this, not even Molihai. This palace was created by the Demon Emperor, and it has accumulated enough killing intent to affect one's heart. Don't fight it and instead accept it with your heart, experience the killing intent. Wang Lin pondered for a bit. After looking at the man named Shu, he could feel the powerful killing intent coming from below. The killing intent down there was monstrous and should help his celestial slaughter art. He hadn't even gotten close and the strands of slaughter energy between his fingers already began to move even faster. There was a slight bit of trembling coming from them. This wasn't trembling from fear but the urge to kill. Feeling the change in the slaughter energy, Wang Lin stepped into the blood-colored light and walked down the flight of stairs. This video will end here.